going to show you how to make one of these lovely cosmetics bags from one of our velvet borders with a click-clack closing. To make the bag you need 1 metre of our 14cm borders, 1 fat quarter, some fusible fleece and a bag clasp 19cm. First fix the fleece to the reverse side of the fat quarter. The glue dots go to the reverse side and of course you iron from the right side. Cut the sides and the bottom out of the velvet border. You'll have just a little bit left over. Cut the same pieces out of the cotton lining with the fleece. From the rest of the cotton, cut 2 long rectangles. And from the leftovers, cut 2 squares of velvet and 2 squares of cotton. Start with the side pieces, fold them in half and mark the centre point top and bottom with a pin. Take no notice of any existing markings, they're not for this purpose. Mark also the centre points of your lining pieces. And then mark the centre points of each of the 4 sides of your bottoms. Take the 2 velvet side pieces, place them right sides together and stitch down each side at 8mm from the edge. Repeat these steps for your lining pieces. Now we're going to match up the centre points of your side pieces with the centre points of the bottom, pinning them together, and match the stitching with the centre point on the short edge. So match all 4 marks together and then stitch all the way around. I'm going to show you a little tip as to how to get the corners neat. So stitch along, and as you get to the corner, just hold it down with a tool. Just before you get to the corner, snip into the border side and then stitch to that point. With a needle down, you can then pivot, put your foot back down and then keep stitching. So you should now have a bag that's starting to take form. Now just repeat these steps for the lining pieces, making sure that you leave a hole on one of the long sides for turning later. Take the small squares and place them right sides together and stitch around, making a nice curve. We find it helps to draw around a cotton reel before you start stitching to give you a guideline. Once it's stitched, clip the excess fabric to about 2mm, turn it over and then top stitch. Take these tabs and pin them to the centre point of the side of your bag. Base stitch in place. Stitch an 8mm hem to each short side of the long rectangles, then fold in 2 and press. Mark the centre point just using your fingernail and then match that up to the sides of your bag. Pin in place all along. Now stitch this in place, making sure that you catch the tabs as you go. Once both channels are stitched, you should have 1cm gap between the 2. Take the bag lining, push it right sides together inside the velvet bag. Then match up your seam lines, pin around the top and stitch all the way around. Now turn the bag the right way out through the hole that we left in the lining earlier, pushing out all the corners. Push the tab down, press and then top stitch along the edge. Take the bag clasp and unscrew each side and thread the bag clasp through the channels in the cotton. Now clip them back together and screw them back into place. It's not essential, but you can take some Jeffy-Tex at this point and thread it into the bottom of your bag. This just gives it a little bit more form. Close the hole that was left in the lining by machine or some hand stitches. If you're making a wash bag, you can sew the bottle in vinyl instead. You can make this wash bag using any of our borders that you can find on our site.